came in this box.
Thursday.
Oh,
And it's a
man,
whole
we
bunch
are
of Missouri
live now.
beers. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Earl's Beercast. Earl got a new
That's
box.
what you do. You got to get your own like a flight of beers and just like sample and just do a sample all night.
That's exactly what this is. This one is Blue Canoe. It's American Pale Ale. Canoe. This one is small batch. It's supposed to taste like Amarillo Calypso hops. Has some melons and mangoes, apricots, and citrus.
I was the worst start of the podcast ever. Just
This
listening to Earl list ingredients.
Oktoberfest.
God bless.
This is the shit we deal with here.
Yeah, you're the shit we do.
Oh, man. All right. Well, while Earl is picking out a beverage to drink tonight, thank you, everyone, for joining us across our social media feeds, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We are live now. We're going to get into it here in just a minute, but thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you. We see NM Ultras already over in the chat tonight. Thank you for being here.
I'm not sure who he's talking to, but
I don't know. I didn't get a haircut, so.
I didn't either. So.
Wait, haircuts.
All right, I think we're already talking. I think he's already going in on the forehead. Is what I think he's doing.
That could be it. That could be exactly. I know. Harry was DMing me a little while ago saying, "Let us in." So,
Harry,
there he is. What's going on, man?
And then spam. Is that spam? That's got to be some spam.
Yeah, that is spam.
So, Andres, if you didn't know the rules, you have to start off by making a Jacob forehead joke.
You don't have to.
No,
you
it's
don't
the
have
rules
to.
here.
It's better if you do it like sneakily later in the show.
Okay. I'll do it when we least expect it. How about that?
That's the best time.
I can't wait.
Oh man, we've got so much to get into tonight. So yeah, we've
already lost it.
We haven't even started. We've already lost it. That's a new one for us. So
I'm trying to share it in Facebook groups, and you guys are distracting me with nonsense.
That's what we're best at.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Look, if you just put your head to it, it'll work. It'll work out.
That wasn't even casual. That was just blunt. That was just a blunt,
Emotional damage. That's what that is.
Emotional damage.
All right, let's go.
Fighting words. That's what they're called.
All right, let's get this show started proper. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM and your source for the New Mexico United and New Mexico Runners news. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining us tonight, we've got a full house. Once again, we got Jacob Terrell, Earl Nieto, and owner of the New Mexico Runners, Andres Trujillo. Andres, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being here. We're going to get to you here in just a second. I don't know I know you've seen the show before. We do start out with one burning question for everybody. And just to go ahead and throw it out there, how about them Cowboys?
Earl. Oh, poor Earl. Poor Earl.
Were you sad? Like legitimately sad when all the debacle happened and Dak made the choices he made?
No. So here's the thing. I'm part of all these stupid Facebook groups. One of them is the NFC East Trash Talk. And I told an Eagles fan last week, or when we beat their scrub unit, or whatever the hell it was, whenever it was, a couple weeks ago, I would actually be ashamed and be disappointed if we did win. So, am I disappointed? No, I expected it.
I gotta tell you, the memes were really nuts, like on Facebook. One of my favorite ones, and let me just preface this by saying, I'm a casual Cowboy fan. I'm not. I don't know. Like I haven't been following them. I'm an old school Cowboy fan, right? So there's that. But my favorite meme was the Dallas Cowboy star. Wasn't a star really. It was an actual rating, which is 1 star.
Yeah.
I had
Trust
to
me,
laugh at
there's-
that. Come on.
So there's regular season Cowboys, and they're about 3.5, 4 stars. And then there's playoff Cowboys, and there's literally like half a star. So no, I was not disappointed. Anyway, Seth, go ahead with your burning question.
That was the burning question, but I do have one more for you.
Well, on that, I'll drink to that.
All right, there you go. What do you call a group of 53 men watching the Super Bowl?
The Cowboys at home on a couch.
There you go. Exactly.
Wait, do you really not have a burning question?
No, it really was just to poke some shit at you. That's all it was.
Oh, you're disappointing today.
But no, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed the wild card weekend. I thought there were some interesting games out there. Obviously, I wish there had been a little bit better matchups than what we saw, but I don't really think there were really any surprises this weekend. Did you guys take anything away from the games?
Yeah, no. Hey, did you know that the Spice Girls were originally a band called Touch?
Already, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody had surprises really. I think the Bills like literally dismantling is that the right word? Just had a weird moment. Anyways, the Bills just complete annihilation of the Patriots was surprising and fun. I liked it.
Here's a great question over the chat: Bucks or Rams?
Alex is a Buccaneer fan as well. So I hope he says Bucks, but I'm nervous as hell about that game. I'm not gonna lie.
So
I
to answer that
think
question,
Go ahead.
I say Bucks, but also, did you know the Spanish national anthem has no words?
Don't egg him on, Aaron. Don't egg him on.
I had no idea about that.
Now you do.
See,
Andres,
he's
you
on a
got
roll.
Bucks or
He's on a
Rams this
roll.
weekend?
it gets worse.
Man, that's a tough one. I don't know. We'll go Buckies.
Bucks, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think on paper,
I
think
don't
the Bucks
know.
have a better team. I think their defense is better than the Rams, although I think the Rams have better individual pieces than the Bucks do. So it's tough, and I hate this matchup because I can't cheer for Matt Stafford, but I can't cheer for the Bucks. So I'm gonna pray for a
'cause he's-
meteor. Yeah,
Because he's a Georgia guy. Huh?
yeah, he's from UGA, so yeah, there were a ton of injuries too that were picked up around the league over this course of the weekend too. Great point there, Harry. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Specifically the Bucks offensive line, which is not the best situation when you're going up against Von Miller and Aaron Donald right now.
No,
So
it's specifically Buda Baker. That's it. He got
Okay.
knocked out cold during
he
the
did.
game.
I understood that. I wasn't sure how that pertained to the Bucks
Injuries?
being injured. I was very confused, but okay.
No, I just talked about injuries that Seth said. There was a whole bunch of injuries this past weekend.
I know, but Harry said Bucks are injured, not everybody.
I
got
don't want to
injured.
hear you. You know what? Turn him off. Mute him.
Bulldogs own Bama. I mean, national championship game happened too. I mean, that was not quite the way I expected that to turn out. I was just cheering for a meteor to hit Indy, so I couldn't cheer for either team. But the Bulldogs outplayed them. They absolutely did.
Hang on. How do you have to put me in the backstage pass now?
I always had that one too. I just never used it. It was for when you really
God.
pissed me off.
Look, I have a fan. I have one fan in this place. One fan.
Seth, did you pick up your Georgia Nat title winning year? Absolutely not. I will not. And if anyone sends me anything that's black and red of that nature, it
You're
will be
wearing
burned
black
in
and red.
fire. No,
You're-
Georgia,
you're-
UGA.
No, you're literally wearing Georgia Bulldogs colors right now,
No, then I see there's yellow in here. The Bulldogs don't have any yellow, so
but they have white.
Oh my gosh. Earl, are you okay? Did you have a rough day today, brother?
No, this is every week.
This is every week.
Every week, Andres. Every week.
Oh,
Look, I make
man.
this place fun.
Do you?
That's what it's about.
I mean, I do. I do.
every workplace has their clown, and ours is Earl. So, yeah.
And somehow
At
he's
least
a
not
royal
regional
guest.
manager.
It's at least not hostile in here.
Oh, it's very hostile.
Not yet.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you, sir? I am a
Yes.
Georgia Tech diehard. No, sir.
I don't understand. I don't like the Lobos Aggies hate. Like I don't understand how you can hate when they're playing each other. Yes, but like if the Aggies do good, I'm happy because it puts New Mexico on the map.
When do they ever do good?
They made it for a little while when they
Sometimes.
had Pascal Siakam and that
Oh,
was about
you're
it.
talking basketball. Oh, you're talking basketball.
Yeah, college football in this college football in this state doesn't exist. So
Oh, Coach
Steve.
Steve.
That's tough. That's a tough one.
There
Is
we
it-
go.
am I
Coach
wrong?
Steve in the chat.
Am I wrong though?
No, I don't think you are. And not being from here, I have no dog in this fight between the Lobos and the Aggies. So, but as an outside observer, I can absolutely say that over the past few years, the Aggies basketball has been better, and objectively, I think their football has been better too. But maybe UNM's got some things going on, and maybe they're starting to turn some stuff around. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
That's wishful. I don't know. That's kind of wishful thinking, and I hope we do. I honestly hope. We can only hope. That's the thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, something's got to give. Something's got to get the New Mexico sports back on the map. And, maybe something happens with down at the pit. I mean, I know the Lobos are not doing well right now. I haven't seen how the Aggies are doing at this point. I know the women's basketball team is doing pretty good. So, there's bright points all around there. So, okay, here we go. Question here. How did you become a Georgia Tech fan? Nice community school like that, being a New Mexico Highlands University fan. I grew up outside of Atlanta, Harry. So I had family that went to Tech. So it was an easy pick for me to go with Tech. My family is basically all Tech fans.
Oh, wow.
So, but yeah, as you guys can see, thank you guys so much for hopping over in the chat already. Got some great comments, some great folks over in the chat already on the NM Ultras here. NMSU has some of the best basketball in the Southwest. There you go. We've been having a lot of fun so far. We've got Andres Trujillo with us. And Andres, some folks in the chat do know who you are. We know who you are. You're the owner of the Mexico Runners. Club picked up the first win of the season this past weekend. But before we get into that, how did you get involved with the Runners? How did you come about owning the club and getting involved with the MASL?
Man, so it goes back to when I was like 5-6 years old. And the reason why I say that is because I actually played indoor soccer at the complex up on Candelaria and Moon back in the day. There was I think it was, I want to say like 8 fields and 2 large fields and then, some smaller fields, and indoor soccer was just such an exciting game. And I loved it. It was fun, fast paced. And then unfortunately the facility got sold off and indoor soccer completely disappeared from New Mexico, which seemed like, and back in 2017, I got word that the MASL was looking for a market to close the gap from Colorado, Arizona, just trying to close the gaps. And so I decided to apply to it and see if I can get awarded a franchise and territory rights. And of course I did. And then in 2018, launched the New Mexico Runners. And then fast forward, we're here in 2022. But for those who may not know my background, I'm actually a pretty big supporter of New Mexico sports and a sports entrepreneur at that. And so I'm one of the initial investors of the Albuquerque Soul. So going back to the Albuquerque Soul days, I was one of the investors that helped kick off the Soul and get them started. I'm also one of the original co-founders of the Duke City Gladiators arena football team, professional arena football team. So me and a couple others founded the Gladiators back in 2015, and I ran with that group until the end of the 2017 season. I kind of said, hey, too many owners. That's too many chefs in the kitchen. This isn't progressing the way it should be. I'm going to step back and step out. And then, of course, that's when the MASL opportunity came up, and that's why I applied for it and got awarded the franchise in New Mexico. And yeah, it's family owned and operated. And so me and my wife and my mother, my sisters, my cousins and nephews and nieces, and we're all just operating this awesome locally owned and operated sports team here. So we're just excited to be here as part of New Mexico, as part of that fabric of New Mexico. And yeah, we're just rocking and rolling, and I'm loving it and enjoying the journey.
So what do you do what do you do outside of the runners that allows you to jump in and be a sports entrepreneur, as you put it, being invested in the gladiators and the soul and the runners?
Yeah, so I do a lot of different things. Currently I'm also the executive director of the New Mexico Games. And the New Mexico Games is New Mexico's longest running sports festival. It's been around for 30 years. And so it's all in the Olympic tradition and style of Olympics. So we hand out gold, silver, bronze medals, and we put on sporting events such as basketball, bowling, archery. I mean, this year we'll be putting on 20 events versus the 2021 year, it was only 11 events because of COVID regulations and things like that. So I've been the executive director for almost 2 years with the New Mexico Games. But I also own a social media digital marketing agency, and I handle social media accounts and websites for multiple companies around the Southwest region of the United States. And so that pays the bills, if you will. But I do that. I also do sports TV production. So I work with ProView Networks and help. I'm a TV sports director for ProView Sports when they do broadcasting high school sports and whatnot. And I've worked with the Isotopes and doing production. Worked with the Lobos doing production for their broadcasts and stuff like that. And of course I'm formerly a radio host with ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team KQTM. And I did that from 2009 through 2016. So very involved with the local sports scene, if I might say so myself.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone here in the chat, is familiar with 101.7 The Team and the New Mexico Games and all those different entities. And from your perspective, watching sports, particularly youth sports, grow here in New Mexico over the past several years, there seems to be really been an explosion of sports. We've seen, AYSO expand. We've seen YAFL. We've seen now NM Flag come in. What do you think about the growth of youth sports, and how does that help feed into not only the high school, but the collegiate levels and above?
I think New Mexico has always been behind the curve when it comes to any industry or any type of anything, really. I mean, and to put it in perspective, I remember growing up and going to the movie theaters, and we couldn't see what came out in California. We'd have to wait like 4 weeks for us to be able to see the premiere of a movie. That just kind of shows a little bit of how New Mexico is just a little bit behind the curve when it comes to things. I mean, when you look at states like Texas and Arizona and California, I mean, they're so developed with the youth sports, right? And providing opportunities for youth is something that's, I think, very important, so that they can promote themselves to the point where they can have the best opportunity to accomplish their dreams. And I mean, I think New Mexico has so many talented athletes from the youth level on up. There are so many talented athletes that really don't get the opportunity. So with New Mexico getting on that train and expanding with youth sports, I think that's providing opportunities for those youth athletes to expand their horizons and give them an opportunity to reach for the stars, if you will.
Looking at the runners specifically, give some folks an idea as to what goes into like the actual running of the club in terms of. And I'm not gonna ask you for specific numbers, but as far as like renting out like the event center or travel things like that, or bringing in players and actual like game day production.
Yeah, there's a lot of cost that goes involved. That's involved with that. I mean, it's not running a team like this is not a cheap endeavor at all. I mean, it's one of those things where it requires a lot of financial injection. Of course, we utilize our partnerships and get sponsorships. I mean, that's an important part of it, as any sports club at any level is, so when you're looking at, renting at a facility, our typical home game day cost is around $10,000 to $12,000. So when you look at that and add that up, kind of give you an idea of what it'll cost to run home games throughout the entire season. And that's just, of course, the base, give or take. I mean, there's always unknowns, and of course, travel's an expensive venture as well, because if we're flying to Omaha, plane tickets aren't cheap, and we all know that. I mean, it's an expensive venture to feed the guys, to take care of transportation and things like that. So it's one of those things where you have to have a plan at this level. You have to have a plan of action of what you're going to do and how you're going to implement. And I think a lot of people think they can do these things and just jump in and, oh, okay, well, I can just do this. It's not. It takes a lot of experience. And, I mean, I have that experience from, starting the Gladiators, working with the Soul and all these other sports organizations, throughout my career and my life. And so, definitely having that experience is a major part of it. And we see a lot of teams at, the minor league level, or in any industry, whether it's arena football or even soccer, that go in, they do their thing, and they fold after the first season because they didn't realize the difficulties it was and how much it actually takes to operate something, and how much effort it takes. I think people think that, oh yeah, you make it look easy, and they tell me that all the time, and I'm like, no, you don't realize that I may make it look easy, but I mean, I'm spending hours upon hours and late nights and making this happen, and then of course getting on the same page with my staff that we have, and of course being family owned and operated, being able to coordinate with those guys and making sure we run an operation that's efficient and sound, and of course an entertaining product. So yeah,
you and I actually met in person for the first time 2 weekends ago out at the event center, and you talked about basically wearing many different hats, all the different things that you were doing, and you and I chatted throughout the game at different points. But even as you're watching the game, you're cheering for the guys on the field. Like, you're running around, you're doing social media, you're talking to, I'm assuming, season ticket holders. I know there was I was standing there watching the warm-ups, and there's a guy that had an issue with a seating ticket. Like if someone had a seat, and so you're taking care of that, making sure that the field is ready and guys know what's going on with the pregame and all that kind of stuff. And it definitely is not as easy as some people might think it is, just from watching you in that couple hours that we got to hang out on Saturday night.
Yeah, I it's one of those things. I wear multiple hats, and and being able to balance all that to make sure that everyone's happy at the game. I mean, our fans are huge, our lifeblood to come out and support what we got going on, and it's ever growing. And so making sure fans like you, that one of our season ticket holders, I guess the ticketing system or something messed something up, and I don't know what it was, but yeah, we make sure that fix that. We make sure to take care of our season ticket holders, our fans, make sure that their experience is amazing and memorable, and that's an important thing. It's a customer service type business, and making sure that you got fans. I see Coach, anyone can do it. Coach chiming in. I love it. Oh, Coach. But yeah, and then just being able to make sure the operations are running smoothly. I mean, that's another thing. We got a script. I mean, our script is a 25 to 30 page long script. From the beginning, what our PA guy needs to say, what our DJ needs to play, what do we need to announce? When does something go on the big screen? When does, so there's just so much coordination, and me being able to oversee all that, making sure that we're doing what we need to do so that we have an experience. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but here's a little bit of Andres trivia is I used to work for Disney. I used to work for Radio Disney here, AM 1240, which was a radio station here back, I worked for them from 2006 through 2010. And so I was a producer as well as a live MC, hosted radio show, and I was a part of their road crew, which promoted the station. And so I took the Disney model and implemented it in the into the runners business. So it's all about experience. And at the end of the day, we want our fans to walk out of the game, win or lose, and say, man, that was a fun time. That was exciting. I can't wait to come back to the next one. So,
do you get to go to any away games and not have to worry about all that and just actually be able to watch and enjoy?
So in the first 2 seasons, no. I was, I'm the bus driver, so I drive the van, wherever we're going. And of course, it's just part of what I love to do, and as part of me being an owner as well as operating. But this season, we're blessed to have one of our staff members, Charlie Bickle. He's actually our team statistician. And actually a media assistant, so he helps me write articles and things like that. And so he's actually helping me out and coming on every road game this season. So he's handling social media updates, and he's handling miscellaneous things. And so for me, what I'm doing now is I get to actually sit back. I take my camera and take pictures and talk to people and stuff like that. So actually, this season, yes. So I guess you could say I'm moving up in the world. So I want to give a shout out to Charlie Bickle, my team statistician. I appreciate everything you do.
Nice.
All right, Deepo. Yes, from Paleta Bar. Hey, buddy. Thanks for all your support, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's get right into it. The runners, they started off the season 0-5, unfortunately. But this past weekend over in Wichita, they did pick up the first win of the season by a final of 7-6. And unfortunately, I didn't get to watch much of the match, but I was looking at the stats here and looking at the recap. And I hope I pronounced these names right. Froylan Ramirez picked up 3 goals. Marshad picked up 2 goals and assists. Jackson, another 2 assists this season. Sergio, a goal and assist. And Colton picked up another goal. What was your takeaway? I mean, obviously, it feels good to get a win. After a rough start to the season, how does it feel to pick up that first win? And would you rather it been at home?
Well, so, I mean, obviously winning at home is a huge thing, right? That first win at home, that's an important aspect. But, kind of rewinding a little bit through the start of the season through now, I mean, to put things into perspective, we hadn't played competitively. Our core guys have not played competitively at this level in almost 2 years. So trying to readjust those pieces, Coach Famoletta has a system, and this system is a foolproof system. I mean, Coach has that experience. He knows the game, and it's funny because he'll tell our players and be like, hey, this is what's going to happen. This was going to happen. This was going to happen. And sure enough, that's what happens. And it's like he's a fortune teller or can see the future because has so much experience in this. He knows what's going to happen. So being able to adjust and get our guys on pace with the system, with our core, as well as a lot of new guys that we have on the squad, definitely was a little bit of a challenge. And Coach was very frustrated with that. But I think one thing he was able to do this weekend, which shows that his system works, that he can adjust and put people in places that need to be where they need to be and where they excel. And we saw that we put on a great show. We were very good on defense. I mean, and I think for us in the first 5 games, our defense was very, very lacking. I mean, it was very weak, and we made those adjustments. And so we made those adjustments and had an outstanding defensive game in the I saw that comment too in this last game against Wichita, and we could see that with our guys playing their hearts out. And we actually had a roster of 13 guys only, so we were short 3 guys. And our game day roster it consists of 16, and unfortunately we have a few injuries on the side here, and so that kind of shorted us some guys going into Wichita. But yeah, Coach has a system, and definitely we were able to make that system happen and put it into play, and it got us a victory.
Nate had a fantastic game on Saturday. I think he had like a 793 save percentage, just out of this world. I know he faced a ton of shots. I think it was like 42 or 43 total shots that he faced. Can you speak a little bit to Nate's performance this season? I know he's kind of a younger guy and stepping up and playing at this level.
Yeah, Nate is a Rio Rancho High School graduate, so he's a local product. And so one of the things is that him jumping in the box has been one of the greatest things for the club on the defensive side. In previous seasons, we we would actually drop games. The games that we lost, should I say, were actually 2 goals difference of we could have won or not based on two saves. So Nate has come in and really livened up what we can do in the box. And when you look at the numbers from last season versus this season so far, there have been more shots taken on us this season than there have been all last season. So Nate being able to stop a high percentage of those has been hugely important for our club. And so, but again, that's only one part of the one piece of the puzzle, and making sure that all the other defensive pieces are in place will help facilitate our offense to be able to create opportunities. And so I think we were able to showcase that this weekend in Wichita.
Yeah, I mean, the club, finally gets, like I said, they got their first win. They're back next weekend at the Rio Rancho Event Center. I believe we are taking on the RGV Barracudas. If I got that correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. And that's 5:05. Sorry. A 5:05 p.m. kickoff on Saturday evening. What can we expect from the Barracudas? And do you think the Runners can pick up their second win on the bounce here?
Actually, RGV just actually kicked off their season this past weekend. They hosted Amarillo, and they did defeat Amarillo in their double header weekend. RGV is a kind of a wild card because we haven't really seen what they can do in regards to what kind of ball they play. They've sat out a little bit longer because of not just COVID, but they actually sat out a season, the 2019-2020 season. They sat out. And so really they've been on a little bit of a longer hiatus than us. And so we really don't know what to expect with those guys. And of course, they will be playing a doubleheader weekend. Saturday, they play us. And then on Sunday, they travel up to Colorado Springs to play the Colorado Inferno. So obviously it's going to be a heavy weekend for those guys. And definitely we're seeking, man. We're seeking to reel in those Barracudas and get that victory number 2.
All right. We had a question over in the chat earlier for you. Harry asked, how is there a way to watch the New Mexico Runners online? I know it was mentioned that the home matches are streamed live on Facebook. Is there anywhere else at the club that folks can watch the Runners? And what about away matches?
Yeah, so we stream our home games, of course, on our Facebook Live, on our page at NM Runners, and of course that's available to anybody that is on and off Facebook. So that's one thing that's cool about the Facebook Live as well. But it just depends on where we go or the away teams. Wichita, they stream on YouTube. Amarillo was Facebook Live. It just all depends on each team that hosts. It depends on what they decide, what platform they want to stream to. But it's usually YouTube or Facebook Live. So, but you can always check our Facebook page because that'll have all the links on, especially when we're away, on how you can watch the games live.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our Runners recap for this week. So, I mean, Andre, stick around, man. We'd love to get your thoughts on the upcoming USL schedule, too, if you'd like to talk that with us.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah. All right. So heading on over into some USL news, New Mexico United has been kind of quiet the last 2 weeks. We haven't had too much going on. We did, of course, announce the addition of goalkeepers and assistant coach Nate Walzer, and we also announced the hiring of Masaki Makhimi as the first assistant coach. So some veteran leadership coming into the technical staff there for New Mexico United. And then, of course, as New Mexico United did announce, it didn't come out prior to the last show, the worst kept secret in the USL. New Mexico United did, of course, announce the signing of Radi Ovuka, the Congolese left back. Yeah, guys, this was kind of big news, kind of came out, got leaked a few days ahead of time, tried to confirm it with the club. They obviously wouldn't say anything. His own club put it out. The Ghana Soccer Net put it out. Thank you, Earl. So, I mean, were you guys? So, I'm going to ask this in kind of like a two-part question. First of all, we've been waiting for the signing of Austin Yearwood or the re-signing of Austin Yearwood. When Ratty was signed, what was your initial reaction when we didn't know whether or not Austin was coming back?
Well, I think most of us, well, as far as me and Seth, and I don't know about Earl. Earl's a wild card. I never know what Earl's thinking. But even on Facebook,
because not even Earl knows what he's thinking.
Exactly. Even on Facebook, a lot of people thought that it might spell the end of Yearwood's time here, and we talked about Yearwood having a fantastic season last year. And thank you, Earl. Appreciate that.
Good night, Coach. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
Night, Coach.
We'll see you this weekend.
But hinting at news that came in after that, we were wrong. Yearwood is back, so I was definitely off of that. But I'm still excited about this Ratty signing. It's always a good sign when Twitter gets angry at their team for loaning out this player, because he was well liked at his former club from what we saw, and that's always a good sign when we get somebody that the other fan base is disappointed to lose. So I'm excited to see what he does, and this roster is really just starting to come together, and I think we're probably 4 announcements, maybe 5, maybe 6, I don't know, including probably 1 new player. And a backup keeper, because we don't have one of those yet. But we're just a couple pieces away from, I think, having the roster that we're going to go into battle with, and I'm excited for it.
Wait, so you said we need a backup keeper. Do we even have a starting keeper?
Oh
Yes, we do.
Oh, Earl, please continue this year, please. Oh my gosh, we'll have to get Casey back on here to rip you another new one, because this hate is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know we definitely will have to get Casey back on, see how he's doing up in Colorado, and definitely have him school Earl on goalkeeping skills and reads. So
they'll just tackle him. They'll just go and tackle him.
There we go.
So
maybe we need to set something up where Earl goes and plays keeper against the entire runners set of forwards, and just see how many Earl can save.
I'd be down.
Let's get you out of practice. We got to get you guys all out of practice. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We'd love to be out there. So yeah, Ratty came in, obviously a very highly touted left back out of the Ghana League and the Ghanaian Premier League. I apologize. And he featured. What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Earl's lost.
Never mind.
That wasn't. That wasn't.
No.
That wasn't
you
me.
this time?
Oh,
what happened? What happened?
I don't even know. I heard like our playback or something.
Yeah, I heard echo again. Echo or somebody.
It could have been me. I took off my earbuds because I think the baby's crying. So I think I may have to jump off because I got the baby crying and I think wifey's in the shower, so I need to go tend to the baby. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let's get you out of practice. We'll see you guys out there on Saturday. January 22nd at the Rio Rancho Event Center. Come support. It's exciting. We're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna have enough foresight to get this victory. Let's see if we can do that.
Absolutely, Andres. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate your time. So yeah, we'll let you go take care of the little one. So thank you, and we'll see you out there on Saturday. All right, guys. Andres Trujillo, owner of New Mexico Runners. Go check them out at New Mexico Runners at NM Runners over on Twitter, NewMexicoRunners.com, New Mexico Runners over on Facebook. And again, Saturday, 5:05 kickoff at the Rio Rancho Event Center. Get out there, support the runners, support local soccer. It really is a fun thing to watch. Like I went out there 2 weekends ago, saw it for the first time, and I was absolutely blown away. So get out there, support them, and we'll see you guys. Hopefully see you guys out there. So yeah, to continue our conversation on Ratty, this guy is highly touted at the Ghanaian Premier League. And Jacob, like you said, his club, like the supporters of his home club, were really kind of upset about this signing. Number one, because it was reported that we initially offered a loan with an option to buy valued at $450,000. That was the report that came out. Ended up just being a single year loan. Now, this is the kind of detail that we don't typically see in USL contract reporting in terms of, player valuations and, transfer fees and things like that. Like, could you imagine if we paid $450,000 for this guy? I mean, obviously, from the highlights we've seen, he's a talented guy. I mean, he held his own against Sadio Mane in an AFCON match last year. So I'm looking forward to this, but could you imagine our New Mexico United shelling out $450,000 to potentially buy a player?
Yeah, I think the numbers might be a little more. Well, I think they're trending upward in everything USL Championship, whether that's what we're paying guys. Like I don't know what we're paying Nico Brett, but I think he might be. I think they all might be making a little bit more than we tend to think sometimes. And so these numbers you're seeing, like the Junior Fleming signing from or transfer from Birmingham to a team in France was $500,000. So these numbers, they are huge, but this kid, man, he's only 22. Like you said, he has played in AFCON. He's was a star for his team there in Ghana, Heart of Oaks there in the Ghanaian Premier League, and he has a mentality, or he has an aura that I've seen about him and from the fans and from the highlights that I've seen, that he could come in and be a top tier player in this league next year or this year, if things break right. I think he's going to have a hard time because I believe he's going to be in that Suggs role for the most part, and Suggs is obviously a team captain and has been with this club since the beginning, and we don't want to see him go. And Suggs was often our best player on the pitch last year for certain matches. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with those two there. But I'm really excited for it. It's hilarious that it was broke 2 days early and was just everywhere on Twitter and Google. In fact, you mentioned it, or you sent it in the group chat, and we looked at it. I told Allie about it, and then maybe 10 minutes later, Allie shows me her phone and her Google, and it had the same story that you sent us was on hers. Mm-hmm. So it was. I mean, it literally was everywhere, and that was funny to me. But between that and then Illich and Azira on the whiteboard, we had some spoilers, some leaks, however you want to call it. But I couldn't be more excited with that Ratty signing, and I can't wait to see a lot of these players on the pitch together and seeing how they work. I've been trying to figure out lineups in my head and using the lineup builder that we used a little bit last year, and my goodness, man, it is it's tough. I don't know who's going to start. It's similar to last year, but I think it's more on the defensive side this year than last year. I think our offensive side is, I have a pretty good, I can pencil in 3 players when all 3 are healthy, and it's Wehan, Moreno, and Brett. Those 3 are going to be starting as long as they're healthy. They're going to be out there for the full 90 would be my guess, or at least to start the match. And then after that, I don't know. I don't know about Bruce. I don't know about Ataka. Rivas, I'm not sure, but that back line is stacked, and I don't know what they're going to do back there.
Talking about lineup building, Earl, now we've got, we kind of mentioned it earlier, Austin Yearwood did, of course, get re-signed for 2022. We kind of already thought this was in place, and because his agency on their website said prior to last year that he had signed a new 2-year deal. So we kind of already thought this was coming. And then we got confirmation that Austin's contract was in negotiation. We knew that much. So we had known since prior to the new year that Austin's contract was being negotiated. And there was some kind of back and forth on Twitter, who might be coming back, who might not, and between him and Tenari, and I put out a comment. I said, well, I can tell you that one of those players' contracts is being negotiated. There's an A in their name and an N in their name, and Andrew Tenari might already be gone, and Jacob sent us something in our group text that might kind of lead to that. But Earl, talking about building lineups. With Austin being re-signed, with Ratty coming in, we seemingly have 2 left backs now. How do you think head coach Zach Prince handles this? Is there some sort of formation in which we see both Ratty and Austin out there, or do you think maybe they kind of platoon each other?
So I don't know. I mean, we could probably see Austin as like a wing back, and then Ratty playing like a permanent left back, but your guess is as good as mine, and I'm not even going to try to guess because I'm not a soccer guru or any kind of guru, to be honest.
You're a beer guru. Or what you are is a forehead joke guru is what you are, but
dear God. So I'm actually kind of upset right now because Andres didn't make a single forehead joke.
Oh, he did not. Oh, he's never allowed back on.
Oh, he did. He had the foresight.
Me and Earl both missed it.
Went right over Jacob's forehead,
which is a tall task.
It's like almost. Never mind. Too soon.
I don't know. I see him more from the highlights that we saw, and the fact that he is listed with Josh Suggs on the whiteboard, the infamous whiteboard. I see him more as that position, whether it's a wingback in a 3-5-5-3, however you want to describe the formation that we used a lot of last year, or if we're in a 4-4-2, him playing on that Suggs side and being able to get forward and attack and bomb down that side. And then Austin's more of a he doesn't like to progress as far up the pitch. I mean, he will, obviously. I mean, he had the USL goal of the year, so we know he'll do some attacking, but in the day in, day out kind of more often than not, we'll see him sitting back a little bit more. And Ratty, from what we've seen, man, he's not afraid to go forward. He's got some really good skills with the ball at his feet, and can create from that position a lot like Suggs. And so
looking at transfer market, and I know we all know how accurate transfer market is.
Right. They have them all up that left side.
Yeah, so they have Austin as a set left back, but they have Ratty as a left back, a left mid, and a left winger.
Yeah.
But this is also the same website that has Suggs as a center back. I don't know if you've seen that, but it just has Suggs as a center back. And we haven't seen that yet. So I don't know, but the highlights that we've seen, Ratty will get forward, and I'm super pumped about that. And Austin kind of played left, right, center, wherever he was needed last year. And so I'm very curious to see what he does with the back line, whether it's a 4-man back line or really the 3-man back line that we've been playing with lately with, Yearwood, Tete, and Ryden back there. But then if you do that, you've got Alexi that you've got to find space for back there. You've got Ratty. You've got just all kinds of stuff that who knows how he's going to make it all work. But again, much like last year at this time, it's a good problem to have. It's a good thing to be looking at the lineup or looking at the roster and going, okay, how in the world do we get our best guys out on the pitch when we have maybe like 16, 17 guys that I feel like should be starting every match for us. And with Ratty and Austin being announced, and then I think 2 backups more than likely with Illich and Azira kind of being leaked on the whiteboard. I think that bodes well for our depth. I wouldn't mind seeing Azira start every once in a while. I think Illich kind of came into his own late last year and showed some good signs. So if he's a backup striker for us, then I'm happy with it. I would love to see Brian Brown or a Devin, assuming he's healthy, on that forward depth as well. But Illich looks good.
Yeah, you mentioned that the kind of leak there from the whiteboard in the schedule release video. Like I've been going through it, taking down different dates and things like that, and I saw that, and you screenshot it, sent in, and I sent that over to our contact at the club, and they're like, "Oh, good eye." And apparently Pete kind of confirmed it over on Instagram.
Yes, he did. Pete
yeah,
leaks.
we saw that.
Oh, hashtag Pete leaks.
Hashtag Pete leaks, which the club was not aware of either. And so, yeah, Pete apparently confirmed that over there.
Can we get him on the podcast?
Well, God, I want to so bad. Like he's on my list of folks to get on. And so, yeah, Pete apparently confirming that Ilya and I think he said Azira are back for the 2022 season. Nothing official from the club yet because, in the Ratty press conference, we of course talked to Edmar Kanan, and I asked David. I said, "Hey, when it comes to making announcements and things like that, obviously there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So they have to wait for league and federation approval before they can say anything. Now, the players' home clubs, they can say whatever they want because they're not subject to the league. So even though the Ratty information had been out there, the club couldn't confirm it until it had all been approved by the league and federation. So that's why we're not seeing these announcements as fast as we would like them. People are questioning, why aren't we getting them? Why aren't we seeing these things? And that's why, because they have to get the go ahead from the league basically before the club can say anything. And so a little bit behind the scenes there from David, and he was happy to answer the question that we had about the leak and how they handled it. And so the club kind of played it tongue in cheek and went with it. And so, yeah, I mean, the club's looking really good. You mentioned earlier, Jacob, that you were expecting maybe a couple more signings, maybe one or two more new people. And we're close, man. We're close to having a full roster. And like you said, we don't have a backup keeper. If the Illich signing is accurate, he's coming back. We're going to look better at the top. And things are looking pretty good for us right now. I mentioned it over on social media, I believe it was on Reddit, asked about Will Palmquist, who did come in on trial after the collegiate season ended last year. Do you think there's a possibility we sign Will for another season, or do we look for someone with a little bit more experience to back up Alex?
I would expect a little bit more experience to be sought after for a backup role. You want, pretty much any player is going to be a step down from Alex, despite what Earl says. But you don't. I wouldn't want if Alex was to go down for a month. God forbid. I wouldn't want to put our fate in the hands of a keeper who has never seen USL competition before or something like that. So, we all have the most respect for Phil and thought he was going to be a solid keeper. And the one time we saw him, he did not have his best game. We'll put it that way. So I would think that they would bring in somebody that was Phil's caliber or a little bit better, or maybe a touch worse, but not a whole lot. And so I'm expecting somebody other than Will to be announced as a backup keeper.
Yeah, I would hope so as well. I mean, Earl, is there still anything left on your wish list of player signings? And Harry, you're absolutely right. At least we're not RGV right now. So
no, I don't have any more wish lists. But to touch on Harry's comment, I mean, you only have 11 players signed as well. So you can't go too far with that.
That's fair. Sombrero Man.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, Aaron, I'd be perfectly down to bring back Ben. Even though he went to El Paso for a while, I would still bring him back in a heartbeat. I love me some Ben over there.
What's going on, Carlos? Glad to have you in the chat. How'd your procedure go? Did you have that already? If you care to share in the chat with everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's preseason is right around the corner, guys. We have a match coming up in 2 weeks, basically. Like, this is insane. Like, it's on Monday. Okay.
Monday.
Like, this is insane, guys. Like, we're about to switch our schedule from our postseason. And it's so different because, I mean, honestly, like, you look at how the last offseason went to compare this feels so short. Like, it really does. It feels so short in length. And now we've got preseason right around the corner. We've got regular season not far after that. And there's just a lot. And, prior to the USL Championship schedule being dropped, we saw quite a few leaks from a number of clubs. So we knew a few matches ahead of time. When this schedule dropped, I thought the video the club did was really great. I wasn't a huge fan of the white on white, kind of hard to see, but if I had to nitpick, I thought it was a really good video doing that anyway. And of course the whiteboard leak and all that. And, looking at this schedule, we have 9 Eastern Conference opponents. And I think all of them are new except for Charleston, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We get a lot of different opponents that we haven't seen so far. We've got Monterey Bay twice. That's going to be a lot of fun. Them coming brand new into the league. We've got RGV 3 times, which I think is kind of weird. Like, so I know we have RGV 3 times. I think San Antonio has RGV 3 times also. Like, I don't know why we didn't just get 10 Eastern Conference opponents, but whatever. I think we kind of expected there to be an extra match or two against a Western Conference opponent, but looking at the way the schedule came out, what do you guys think about this? Are you happy with the opponents that we got from the Eastern Conference? Do you like the balance of the Western Conference schedule?
Carlos, your Raiders lost, so I'm going to be nice and let that slide this time. But I'm warning you. I'm warning you.
So to answer your question, wait, what did you ask again?
Were you happy with the selection of the Eastern Conference opponents, and how do you feel about the Western Conference slate?
I'm just happy we have a season.
Bring in the hard-hitting insight, Earl. Love it. Damn it, Carlos. Anyways, no, I think the Eastern Conference opponents are great. Super excited about Birmingham. Nico Brett playing his former team there, and we get to play his other former team in Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Detroit, we get to see what the heck they're all about. Miami's going to be a fun one. Fortunately, those 3, Birmingham, Pittsburgh, and Miami are all at home. Those are probably the 3 toughest Eastern Conference opponents that we have, and we get to play them home. We get to go to Indy to face another Mark Lowry, or to face the now Mark Lowry-led Indy 11. And as several people have pointed out, it is the day before the Indy 500. So I expect to see some flags, some United flags at the Indy 500 as well, because I'd be shocked if we don't have a handful of people doing the double up there and going to 2 games or 2 events that weekend. Who am I missing here? Let's see. Oh, Tulsa. I forget that Tulsa is a Western or Eastern Conference opponent. I can remove you, Earl. And I can block you, Sombrero Man. Memphis. Memphis is another one that's at home. That'd be cool. He was at a home match last year, I'm pretty sure. Driving. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I trying to stay focused is ridiculous with you. Um,
Jacob's forehead is so big, even John Cena can see him.
damn it, I can't block Earl. Wouldn't let me. The fact that we have 9 kind of surprises me. We heard all through the offseason once they announced it that it was going to be 8 plus 2 other games from what I thought was the West. So having 9 and then just 1 in the West is kind of surprising. And then the fact that the third or the other West one is RGV. I'm just gonna sit back. You guys just take it from me.
Yeah, there was a lot, like you were saying, there was a lot of talk in the offseason about what was going to happen with those cross-conference matches. And I think we were all kind of, at least to an extent, I think we were kind of hoping for a home and away against some teams. Is that kind of what you thought might happen, Earl, or are you happy with the way it played out?
I like the way it played out. I mean, there's no stupid Tuesday or Monday night games, so so I'm okay with that.
What's the matter? You didn't like Monday Night Football?
No, I did not like Monday Night Football.
See, I thought it was fine, but there was this with how condensed the schedule was last year. Like there were just far too many matches like that, far too many like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday matches, and it made travel impossible to try to get to some of these matches. Like I would have loved to have seen San Antonio, and even this year's San Antonio away match is on a Sunday night. Like really? Like why not make that a Saturday night match? It just because it just doesn't make sense for anyone wanting to, for most people that want to go to that. Like I would love to go to that away match at San Antonio, but it's on a Sunday night. Like put that on a Saturday, make it the marquee matchup, unless maybe that's like the USL Championship game of the week on ESPN2 or something, maybe, and that's the only time slot that they had. I don't know, but like for the most part, I think this year's schedule is so much better laid out. Like I can't wait. I mean, we're talking about going down to El Paso here in a couple of weeks for the second week of the season. We're looking at some other potential road trips for us. It is on a Saturday. I thought it was on a Sunday. Maybe I looked at that wrong, but I could have sworn that was Sunday, September 18th, or did that get changed? Anyway, we'll figure that out. On the United website, it has the away match in San Antonio on Sunday the 18th. So we'll get that figured out. But yeah, I think this is a much better schedule. I mean, would I have loved to have seen a home and away with the Eastern Conference teams? Yeah, absolutely. I think that would have been an interesting series to have. But to see 8 clubs, 9 counting Monterey Bay, I think that's fantastic. I think it's going to be a lot of variety, a lot of different things to look at. And we're going to have to find some way to pay more attention to the Eastern Conference this year.
Monterey Bay is a Western Conference team.
No, I know. I'm saying we have 8 new Eastern Conference and Monterey Bays.
All right.
And Harry, just so you know, the USL schedule has all the games one day earlier. We were supposed to open up on Saturday the 12th. Now we're moved to Sunday the 13th. So yours for the San Antonio game, it is the 18th on the United schedule, at least. So if you guys want to show up on Saturday, that'd be cool, and just not show up on Sunday, I'd be okay with that.
So yeah, I mean, looking at the schedule, I mean, we've talked about Detroit City and some of the others. I mean, Earl, who are you excited to see? Like, do you think that we stand up to some of these Eastern Conference clubs like Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Okay. Great analysis there, Earl.
The one that I'm excited for is at home on August 6th against Miami.
That'll be a fun one. I think Miami's going to be a fun squad this year. They came on last year a little bit and looked pretty good. So I think that it could be, that one. and Birmingham and Pittsburgh, like I said, are all going to be tough tests, and I'm glad we got them at home. But that Miami one's could be fun. I love their kits. They're bright, they're orange, they're blue, they're kind of all over the place. It'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I look at these and I trying to pick out even just a handful of matches that I really want to circle the dates on. Like,
Good night, Carlos.
see you, Carlos. Have a good night, man.
I'll be talking to you later.
I can't wait to see Pittsburgh. I can't wait to see FC Tulsa. I mean, really, because they're new opponents. They're guys that we haven't seen, and being back at
Can I say Phoenix at home is also one that I definitely have circled and starred. We haven't faced them at home and since 2019 when they clinched the Supporter Shield with a draw here. And I'm really excited to finally get them here. And then Santi, it'll be Santi's return for the first time coming to New Mexico. And I just that one's gonna be a fun game, and I'm gonna be riled up for it for sure.
Yeah, and looking at the schedule, I mean, having it spread out, I think it definitely. And one of the things in the league announcement was that the schedule allows for them to have the breaks to kind of coincide with international breaks, Open Cup breaks, all that kind of stuff. So it's doesn't have all that congestion that we had from 2019. Where you had guys playing, 7 matches in 28 days or nonsense like that. How did
they do this though? Because the 2019 we started March 7th, I believe. If I remember right. So that was a week earlier than what we're starting this year.
March 9th.
9th?
Yeah.
Okay, March 9th. And this year we're running till the 15th of October. What was the last regular season game in 2019, Earl?
It was like October. Shit, I don't know.
Oh, you don't? I thought you had the schedule right there. Since
No,
you
I have the.
you have the opening day flag. That's what it is, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling up Wikipedia here real quick. The last regular season game was October 19th.
Yeah, so it's the same length, and it's the same amount of games, isn't it? 34 and 34.
Yeah. I don't know how they managed.
So why was it so different than the first year? But I don't know. I'm excited for it. There's a weird TBD date that's on there.
Yeah.
That I'm not quite sure about, and assuming it's going to be or when it's placed in the schedule is between the 1st and the 9th of October. So assuming it's between there, we're going to have from the 2nd to the, we'll say 6th, without a home game. So basically a month without a home game there, which is a little rough. And then we have another month or another stretch like that in between May and June, where we're here on the 21st, and then we're not back until the 22nd of June. But if I remember right, that first year we had like 80 some days, 60 some days, maybe 60 some days or 50 some days where we didn't have a home match. There was a huge break, followed by and a bunch of away games surrounding it. So it's going to be a fun season, guys. 34 games as opposed to last year's, however many this is. It's probably the same number. I don't want to count. It's probably close to the same number, but it's not the same team 4 times, as we've talked about, and Seth has commented on several times. It's going to be a fun one, and Harry, it's going to be congested for some teams. Others, it'll be one game, and then they're gone. Yeah,
and Harry's absolutely right. Year one, we did have that deep run in the Open Cup, which did add some issues. At one point, we had, I think it was 5 away matches in a row, just in league play, and then I think there were 2 Open Cup matches in there as well, so like 7 away matches. Yeah, like you said, which is just absolutely crazy to think of. But I think the Open Cup schedule is a little bit different this year, so you don't have that compact. And I'll pull it up just to make sure, but I don't think the dates are quite as close on the different rounds of the Open Cup.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
So I think it'll work out a little bit more, because if you look at the schedule, you mentioned that earlier, almost a month where we have all away matches. It's 3 matches in like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah,
because there's like a 12-day break in between 2 of them.
It's not a lot of matches that we're away for. It's just a lot of, 30 days is a long time to not go watch them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the schedule broke really well for us. I think it's going to be an exciting year. I'm excited to see some Western Conference teams, like I said, like Phoenix coming here. Get to see Sacramento after having not seen them since the playoffs in 2019. Tulsa coming back, even though I know that's an Eastern Conference opponent now, but they were in the West when we first started here. In fact, that was our first game. No, our first win, I believe, was against Tulsa. Of course, they were the Tulsa Roughnecks in 2019. But it's going to be a good season. Harry in the chat says Sac Republic is loaded this year. They are. I think there's a lot of loaded teams right now. You look at Phoenix, who's always going to be up there. You look at, I think the changes that we've made puts us maybe not quite up there on paper, but I think a possibility to be up there. Colorado Springs is doing some big things over there, at least offensively, and then they get Maka King from El Paso, and Harry mentioned they only have 11 players right now, or Earl mentioned it for San Antonio, but that they're going to be competitive. They always are. At least in the 3 years that we've been in the league, they did miss the playoffs in the first year, but they were a fun team that first year, and then they've looked better the last year, so they're going to be up there. I don't know what the fuck's going on in El Paso. They have announced some player signings, but even Harry was in the chat with the USL show right before we came on here, basically. And San Diego, yeah, that's another one. El Paso's taking back Phil. What's Phil's last name, Harry? Is it Baki? Of the Seriously Locos podcast. He's on the USL show now. He talked a little bit about El Paso, and he said up to a couple weeks ago it was downright negative with what the fans were thinking about the team. Now it's cautiously optimistic, I think is what they said, and is what he said, and I feel it. They came in, they didn't have a coach they lost their coach unexpectedly. They lost several players. He was talking about the Maka King going to Colorado Springs and how surprising that was. So I think they're kind of hurting, but everybody else in the West that usually is good looks either really good or great right now.
Orange County and Sacramento are splashing the cash, and
Orange
they're looking good. And Phoenix, of course. I have some concerns about Phoenix's latest signing, bringing up the guy from League One,
Greg Hurst.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does, he fits into the system.
I would be surprised if he is their starting striker. I would think Phoenix is going to do something else there, whether it's bringing back a guy like Adam John maybe, or I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but somewhere along that caliber, just somebody up there. I'm surprised Dadashoff isn't back, but they're not. I don't think they're done, and I'm okay with that signing if it's a depth signing.
Yeah. So looking back at the Open Cup schedule, 2019, you had the second round played May 15th, third round basically 2 weeks later on May 29th. Then a week and a half later, you had the fourth round. A week after that was a round of 16. And then you had 3 weeks in between the round of 16 and the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Looking at the 2022 schedule, it is spread out a little bit more. So the second round will be April 5th through the 7th. And the third round would be 2 weeks later, the 19th to the 21st. And then the round of 32, May 10th and 11th. Round of 16, May 24th and 25th. So it's spread out more. So even if you make a deep run this year, it is going to add to the congestion, but it's not going to be like it was in 2019.
Right.
So, I mean, as long as you've got the depth, I mean, I think you're going to be okay compared to what happened in 2019.
Well, and one thing in 2019 is we didn't have the depth.
Mhm.
We did not have near the depth that we have had the last 2 years and this year as well. So I'm not as worried about that. And I mean, look, I would love to make another deep run. Not a lot of USL clubs make deep runs like that, and so I'm not going to go in expecting to make another quarterfinal run or something like that. But if we do, I feel like we're a lot better equipped now than we were 2 years ago. So Harry says, I'm not impressed with OC Orange County, and he wasn't last year either. So that they're going to be tough, I think. I could see out of the teams that Harry mentioned and we mentioned, so Colorado Springs, San Diego, Sac Republic, Orange County, Phoenix, New Mexico United, they all on paper, like we said, look like a really, really tough team, and all those matchups are going to be fun. I'm really excited to play Colorado Springs again. There was a period of time where we owned Colorado, the whole state, basically. That changed a little bit last year, and it'll be interesting to see what happens this year up there. But I couldn't be more excited for the schedule and the format that they're doing. I love that we're playing Eastern Conference teams. I think I'm happier seeing 9 different Eastern Conference teams instead of 4 of them with home and homes, but it gives us a chance to see how we stack up against even more teams in the Eastern Conference, which is always good.
All right. Well, I think that's all of our major talking points for this evening, unless you guys have anything else that you wanted to cover.
No, I think we're good, man. I'm curious to see when we've seen some players start to arrive. We saw Harry Swartz arrived and was greeted at the airport. Seymour showed up and was greeted at the airport. So they're starting to get
finding out about this? Because I haven't learned about this. I'm assuming that the club is letting maybe the curse know, because I'm assuming that's who's showing up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, because I have not known either. But
I know I'm not part of the curse, but I would like to know. And I promise if I'm there, I won't ask any questions. But
I can't promise that. No, I would like to know too. I think I'll shoot David an email or a text and say, hey, can we get a heads up when these players are coming in? I mean, I'm 2.5 hours away, but if it matches up with when I'm going to be headed up that way anyways, I'll gladly pop in and say hello and greet them, and especially if it's a returning player, great. If it's a new player, then that's a little bit better, I think, just to give them the first impression of New Mexico and the fan base and us here at Somos Mas. I just think that would be a fun experience. So yeah, I'd hope we can get on that list that gets notified.
So I do have one more thing, and you talking about the players coming into town,
yes,
kind of keyed it in. You brought this up in our group chat the other day, and Harry, if you're still in the chat, I want to get your take on this too. So the other day, apparently El Paso made a big deal of a new head coach getting into town for the first time, and Jacob thought that this was just weird. And Earl, I'm sorry, I don't remember your reaction to it. And Harry, again, I'd love to get your reaction. Do you think it's strange that it took this long for the head coach to show up in El Paso? Or do you think that it's just kind of goes with the territory? Like, until the players actually get in, there's really no need for him to be there.
So I actually don't blame him for taking so long to get to El Paso.
I mean, it is El Paso, so.
For one, I don't ever want to go to El Paso myself.
Those burros are too slow.
So yeah, so I don't blame him. And two, it's been about a whole month since I've said this in Feb.
Well, you said it 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure, but
I mean, Mark Lowry said it when he took off, so Feb.
he did. He damn sure did. No, it just when I think of a coach, like I think of when I coached middle school basketball or high school baseball or even little league, like you want to be present and like at the field, for instance, like when I was a baseball coach, I mean, I was there a lot, even when I could have done it from home, yes. And if anything, if COVID has shown us anything, it is that a lot of what is being done in the world right now probably could be done from home. But it just seemed like a weird thing to announce him, and then it was about a month after they announced him before he got here, and maybe he's tied up doing other things. I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Visa and stuff like that. That's fair. Don't give me that look, Seth. You didn't bring up that point. Had you brought up that point, I'd been like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But no, you were just like, that's fine. It just seemed weird to me. If it wasn't visa related, it still seems weird to me because I'd want to be there and get to know the front office and talk to them and get settled in my office and be ready for when the players do arrive, not show up while the players are arriving or some have already arrived.
So here's one thing. If I were to ever, and God forbid I ever do, become the coach of El Paso, I'm going to drive the 5 hours it takes to get there the day I sign that freaking contract just to dropkick Yuma in the mouth.
Yuma might not be there.
He might.
Okay, Harry's actually bringing up points, Seth. Unlike you, just call me stupid. So I appreciate you, Harry. I appreciate you.
I just said you're overthinking. I didn't say you were stupid.
Well, yeah, he's mega mind.
Or maybe I was underthinking it.
Oh my god, that was...
I hate you both.
Oh man! All right, I just want to get that. I want to get the Harry's take as well because he's pretty dialed in, like we are with the USL scene. So, yeah, I think if you guys don't have anything else, Jacob, get us out of here for tonight.
All right, guys. Earl, you got anything? No? Okay, cool.
No.
In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you so you don't make any jokes while I'm talking. And yeah, thanks for joining us. The chat, especially in the early part, was definitely blowing up like it was last year. It's always fun when we have interaction and have you guys watching live, and we really appreciate it. I think we're gonna wait 2 more weeks and then start going every week, but unless something crazy happens between now and next week, we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about it. I don't know if that's a forehead joke or not, Harry, but I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just it's always a fun time. Jokes.
Wait. So, Harry, I have a question real quick. Real quick. So you said great show tonight. Once again, Jacob carried the load. I don't see anyone calling Jacob when his camera went out. I had NMU Ultras crying because I was gone.
Stalker,
okay.
Stalker. That's what it is.
Look, do you have a stalker?
No. Thank
Well,
goodness.
that's good because you couldn't fucking hide from that with your big ass forehead.
2 weeks from now, 9:00, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook.
I'll be back.
We'll talk about any signings that get announced. Probably break down the schedule a little bit more. I think might start transitioning into a formal. Oh shit! What's the word I'm looking for?
Well, he's thinking of
preview.
We'll think of
preview.
We'll talk
Preview.
about
preview.
We'll talk about building
Preview.
and skyscrapers in Fort Sumner.
Appreciate it. An official preview of the season coming up, and talk a little bit more about the new signings and anything else that comes up between now and then. But until then, guys, Somos Unidos, and I think it's 2 weeks until maybe 3 weeks until we have, or 2.5 weeks until we have actual soccer game to talk about that we won't be able to watch because it's going to be behind closed doors, but we'll at least hopefully see a lineup and see some goals scored. So
That's
take
a
care,
lot of
guys.
sun rotations around that big old forehead.
Somos Unidos to everybody but Earl. Talk to you guys later.